Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this world. Welcome to In the Know Crypto. I'm your host, Clarence Thomas. Today is February the 24th, 2022. And today we want to talk about how the central bank in Ukraine actually is restricting the citizens in eastern Ukraine from withdrawals from their ATM, and why this is yet sadly another use case for digital assets, not just Bitcoin and Ethereum, but having access to and having an insurance policy, if you will, to digital assets in a secure wallet. We're able to get to them in these events, because sadly these events will continue to happen around the world as crises break out, and how you can use this to protect yourself. So first off, I do want to say that thoughts and prayers go out to the people of Ukraine. And I haven't been to Ukraine. I did live in Eastern Europe, in the country of Kosovo, formerly Yugoslavia, formerly Serbia. In the year of 2020, I did live in Kosovo. And have grown very, very affectionate. I have a lot of love for Eastern Europe and the people of that region. And so, you know, it's funny. We're going to talk about how the markets are down today. And actually, I woke up this morning. Bitcoin was about 34,500. I'm only sitting on Bitcoin. Last May, when the markets got hairy, I went 100% Bitcoin to protect my downside. But you know, my girlfriend and then and a couple people I've spoken to this morning have actually said, "Man, you're like super calm. You're normal. You're normal, happy self." And one of the things I said, "Yeah, nobody likes seeing their wealth continue to drop. But besides the fact that I know crypto is here to stay, will continue to thrive, you'll hear me talk a lot on my channel about the fact that I spent the better part of 2 decades in war zones. I went to Afghanistan in November 2002 at the age of 20 years old. And I spent over 7 years in Afghanistan. I spent over 5 years in Iraq. Lived for a year in Kosovo in Eastern Europe. I lived for 3 years in Kuwait, which isn't a war zone, but a risk area in the Middle East. Can be. Enjoyed my time there. But and I've also vacationed in places like Beirut, Lebanon. I go to Brazil a lot. My girlfriend is Brazilian. I spend a tremendous amount of time there. I go to the Brazilian favelas. And so while I've been around the world, I've seen amazing things, met amazing people, continue to do so. Love my travels. But I've seen a lot of suffering. War zones, been in the middle of war zones, been in, I don't know how many, personally been in hundreds of attacks. I've seen the bad side of war. And so when I wake up, and yes, I've seen my wealth drop substantially, continue to drop, I'm still here. Sadly, a lot of people in Ukraine, and not just Ukraine, around the world, they can't say that. So health before wealth. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. So I know that's a little somber, but you want to keep things into perspective. You have a portfolio that's down. You learn how to manage risk. But if you're still here to talk about it, you're blessed. So let's jump into the fear and greed index, which is 23. Obviously, no surprise on that. Massive sell-off, which is directly a result of course, the attack in Ukraine that happened yesterday. We were actually, it was looking like we were going to have perhaps a nice little relief rally at about $39,000 per Bitcoin. So it was looking like we might hit that $40,000 mark and continue upwards. But of course the attack happened, and that's on top of the many things going on right now with markets crashing as a whole. From just various things, the traditional market crashing, continued crashing, and the imminent rate hikes that looks like the Federal Reserve is going to implement. And so yeah, it's this is what bear markets look like. And so everything is down pretty rough. Ethereum down, looking like 18% over the week. Cardano 25%. Very low prices. And now, another thing just to add, I continue to talk about buying into Bitcoin and buying into Ethereum when prices are low. If we're going into an extended bear market and the prices will continue to go down, you want to proceed with caution as well. We love to say in crypto, buy the dip, buy the dip. Well, many times the dip can quickly turn into an all-out drop. And sometimes the prices don't recover depending on what you're buying. In 2018, a lot of people that were buying that, hey, this price is down 20%, buy the dip, and then it kept going into 98% and beyond. A lot of those coins didn't come back. So you want to proceed with caution when you're buying the dip, as they say. But as I'm actually talking to you now, Bitcoin hit 36,000, so a little bit of relief there. But we'll continue to see what will happen. But again, if you have a long-term view in the market and you're buying into things that you wholly believe in, that will be around 5, 10, 20 plus years, like Bitcoin, then you just continue to have that long-term approach. Keep some cash on the sideline if you want to buy, or also in my case, if you want to have money to live on while you're waiting on the market to turn around. This is why you want to do that. And so now, the other thing I want to talk about, not only is Bitcoin, Ethereum, crypto down, traditional markets down. That's not the only thing that's down. The Ukrainian, I'll try not to butcher this, hryvnia. I looked that up before this video, how to pronounce hryvnia. The Ukrainian hryvnia is down since November, the last 4 months. It is down 10% against the euro, and it's also down over 15% against the United States dollar. And a lot of that it comes from anytime you have an attack in a region, you have a civil unrest or war looming. Of course, people begin to lose faith in that local currency, and they often, in this case, I'm presuming, feel pretty confident to say they're probably running to the euro, perhaps to the dollar, and you will actually see that they're running to to crypto in many cases. So what I want to talk about here, the top story, is that it says here Fox Business, and there were several different news articles on this, but Ukraine bank customers seen withdrawing cash from ATMs, obviously because of the attack that happened. People are scared. They want to have cash. If they need to be able to leave, they need to have cash. Now, what's sad is it says here that and I will butcher this name also, the Donetsk Republic and Eastern Ukraine put a limit on withdrawals to $129 per day. Now, the international standard is typically it's $500 in any country that I've ever gone to and did an ATM withdrawal, obviously per card, is $500 per day. So this is a restriction of about 75%. So if you're in a case where you're a Ukrainian citizen, you want to go cash, you desperately need to get your hands on some cash. You may need to be able to cross the border, and you go to withdraw money. And by the way, you can only withdraw 25% of what you could previously withdraw. That's for several reasons. One, because yes, when people run away from that currency, that rapidly devalues the currency. You heard me mention Kuwait earlier. Kuwait in the Gulf War in the early 90s, it dropped the Kuwaiti dinar, which by the way is the strongest currency in terms of buying power in the world. It's the number one in the world. One Kuwaiti dinar will get you close to somewhere in the ballpark of about $4 US. That dropped to nearly nothing because of the fear of Iraq wiping out Kuwait in the early 90s when they were invaded. And so actually there were people that got rich then that bought the Kuwaiti dinar when it went to nothing. And then because the infrastructure was not really affected, Kuwait continued to thrive. When it came back, people who had bought millions of it suddenly were sitting on a lot of money in dollar terms, etc. Right? But yes, so on one hand you have people getting rid of the currency, which devalues it. The other thing is this is because of the fractional reserve system in which banks around the world only sit on maximum 10%, sometimes significantly less, of the actual reserves on the bank and the actual total amount on that balance sheet. And so if it's regularly said in crypto that if everyone went to the bank and tried to withdraw their money at the same time, they couldn't do it because the bank doesn't even want to sit on cash. That's how much that cash is trash. Banks get rid of it and they go invest it so that they can get a return, obviously, on our money that gets deposited in the bank. And so that's why it's restricted. It's restricted because the money's not actually there. The banks are investing it, and also I'm certain that has to do with fighting off the devaluation of that currency in dollar terms, which the dollar as well continues to lose value as well, sadly. But this is very interesting. I saw this. Now, this was from a week ago from Fortune magazine that says that Ukraine already trades more crypto than fiat currency. Now assets like Bitcoin are officially legal. Now, having said that, it was never banned. Crypto was not banned in Ukraine, but it was not legal status, meaning it was a very much a gray area. Exchanges and other crypto-related entities were operating in a very, very gray area in Ukraine. And so actually in September, the Ukrainian government overwhelmingly voted yes to legalize, i.e., in other words, regulate crypto. That was vetoed by the president of Ukraine at that time because he said, quote, we cannot afford to implement a regulatory body to oversee a parallel financial system. And so he said, hey, now is not the time for that. A week ago, that suddenly changed very, very quickly as sadly the attack that did happen occurred, as it was looking more and more imminent that it was going to happen. They changed their tune on that. And that is for many reasons due to the fact that in this article, from Crypto News, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Bitcoin set to play a role on both sides. In parallel, Russia, there were lawmakers wanting to also ban crypto there. Putin stepped in and other members who said, no, I think we need to embrace it and regulate it as well, because there is a possibility, and listen, I'm not by any means a political expert, poli-sci, political science major expert, anything of that nature, but crypto is just that. It's apolitical. It doesn't care if you're Russian or Ukrainian or Brazilian or Nigerian. It doesn't care. It's code that is governed by immutable law that is censorship resistant. And so as there's sanctions levied against Russia or other countries, they can circumnavigate the system by using crypto payment rails to transact, whether that is Bitcoin or stable coin or whatever that may be. And so it does play both sides. And so obviously Ukraine restricting that and having it not officially legal in that gray area actually hampers them as well. And so they did officially make it legal so that they can regulate it. Now, the reason I chose this specific article as well, I'm going to find there's a tweet here from Noelle Atchison out of Madrid, who's, and I forget the company that she's with, but she's heavy into crypto and a brilliant, brilliant lady. I discovered her through this, and I will leave you with this thought from her and on why it's very, very important to have some level of crypto, no matter where you're from. In the event you have to be, sadly, like many Ukrainians, and you have to flee, and you need to be able to get where you're going without trying to carry a brick of gold through an airport or a wad of cash in a backpack. And she says here in summary, which I think is brilliantly summarized, one thing that I do know, not financial advice, is that an asset with a robustly independent and rigid monetary policy seizure resistant with open access, trading on liquid markets 24/7, 365 is an alternative worth holding as insurance. Experimental? Yes, but what isn't these days? I think that's brilliantly summarized, and that is precisely why having access to some crypto in a private, secure wallet, whether it be 2% of your wealth, 10% of your wealth, it doesn't have to be the majority of wealth like I keep it, but having some as an insurance policy in the event that you need to be able to pop smoke, as they say, and get somewhere, and you have access to funds that no one can seize, no one can censor you. That's worth having, and that's worth sleeping at night. And so, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you found some value in this video today. Again, thoughts and prayers go out to Ukrainian citizens and anyone, everyone in the world that's suffering under war right now, or famine, or whatever that may be. We'll never forget them. Again, if you found some value in this video, please consider subscribing to the channel, giving a thumbs up. If you disagree with something, you can give me a thumbs down. I would like to hear either way your feedback below. Welcome any and all comments, and I will try my best to respond to all of you. Thank you. God bless, and stay in the know and stay crypto. Thank you.